Welcome back. Without wasting much time, we will go into the paper reviews this morning, and as is a tradition, we'll begin this morning with the Daily Trust. And on the front page of the Daily Trust this morning, we have the major story. Only 5.3 million workers will benefit from new minimum wage. Nigeria among worst salary payers in Africa. FG states local government must not politicize wages. This is coming from Peter Side. Reducing cost of living is the way out. Dr. Olowo Kire. And no agreement reached with FG. This is coming from the FG.
I think NLC. The next 48, 72 hours will be very crucial.
That's right.
Especially as they wrap up the ILO conference or convention in Geneva and the labor leaders return home.
That's right.
They've given the government, as far as I'm concerned, enough breathing room. The initial plan was to stay the course, do not call off the strike until there is an agreed to amount. But I think right now, it's not just labor that's been taken for a ride, even Nigerians are being taken for a ride, because we keep enduring as this hardship continues to permeate our everyday life.
Except there's an explanation, of course, from the government quarters. That announcement yesterday in the president's Democracy Day speech is an absolute bad taste.
Yeah, it was premature.
Yeah.
You just upended the entire negotiation process by telling them that, listen, whatever it is that you people are talking about at the tripartite committee, which is constitutionally set up to determine this figure, does not matter. We have overriding powers to send to the National Assembly and
whatever we feel or deem fit.
Yeah, okay.
That's it on the front page of the Daily Trust.
The Vanguard is up next, so let's take a look at the front page of the Vanguard newspaper for today. Lukman says APC no longer win election without rigging. So which of the Lukman is this one? I'm not sure. I know, but if you want to read more about that story, perhaps it's best you take a look at the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. But above that, Nigeria's crude oil production drops to 1.25 million barrels per day in May, according to OPEC. What is our quota again?
1.5 million.
So we can't even meet our...
No, we are not. The funny thing about this is how the OPEC quota keep contradicting the numbers that we get from the Nigeria upstream development agency.
What's up with that? Because I mean, you look at NITI and they talk about the transparency within the system or the lack of it within the system, and it always makes me scratch my head and wonder who is actually lying, because it's as if we're not getting the actual data from it.
I think the guys at this agency are desperate to show improvement that do not translate to numbers, because if we were really getting numbers of how much of sales we make and how much is coming in, we can just basically tell how much was sold.
Yeah.
And if the guys who capture this data at the international level are saying what we can see from our broad metrics is 1.2 million, I wonder what we do with the other.
And I think we're being shortchanged. I think that it's a no-brainer. That in between those discrepancies with the numbers are hundreds of thousands of barrels.
That's right.
And that's hundreds of thousands of dollars going missing.
Unexplained.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. Take another look. Labour rejects TINUBU's claim of minimum wage agreement. Why 1 trillion naira is needed to fund legacy projects, according to NDDC. I mean, I think the NDDC has had a shot to really make an impact, but from what we've seen from the investigations during the last administration, it has become a cash cow for the people who are supposed to add value to the Niger Delta and develop it, but rather are just siphoning.
Now that you talk about that probe, I remember Professor Pandey.
Yes, exactly. The fake faint.
Who fainted at us, and that ended the investigation.
Exactly.
By the way, if you get today's Daily Trust, you will find a story that talked about how just 3 investigations or probes have been concluded in the over 614 probes that have been instituted since 1999.
Yeah.
It's laughable.
There was an event over the past couple of days that talks about abandoned probes.
Yeah.
And this just shows our government's insincerity to fighting corruption.
Of probe.
Yeah.
All right. We move on to the Guardian this morning. The front page of the Guardian is quite busy with a number of pictures and story. But the major story there reads, Nigeria's unity cannot be traded. With your support, I won't fail. That is the president reaffirming his commitment to the development of Nigeria. You see pictures there from Eagle Square, venue of the Democracy Day celebration yesterday. And to other story, Nigeria requires constitution urgently, says Ayoku, Nwachukwu, Obi, and others. A new minimum wage may plunge Nigeria into deeper crisis. Professor Soludo there warns. And Democracy Day, lead with integrity, put people first, Khan urges leaders. And Randy lecturer accused of frustrating female students in Ebonyi varsity.
I think we can do a lot more. I'm happy with the investigations into the Foreign Affairs Permanent Secretary.
Yeah.
I think he has been suspended last time I checked.
Yeah.
Pending the conclusion of the probe. We shouldn't entertain that. People in power, or generally as a society, there are certain things that we should stand up for. To say that this is not, whether the person is married or not, any form of harassment or intimidation should not be tolerated. And in our universities, for instance, this has become a norm. Lecturers taking advantage of female students because they have the power to decide their fate when it comes to their coursework or their projects and things like that, or just share, harassment.
Now that you're talking about this, can we just not develop a system where you can teach the subjects, but the exams will not be marked by you, probably shipped up to another school, so that it completely rids you of the power to do some of the things we do. Standardized exams. If you're taking mass comm course across any university in Nigeria, standardize exams and make people's name as
should be anonymous. Actually, you don't have names. Actually, you just go with your
numbers, and then they are fed into your system, and the final analysis. You do this. That's what I think will work, rather than.
But also, let's make examples of some of these lecturers.
Absolutely.
That are given a bad name to our universities, as well as to all the other lecturers who are doing the needful to give us a standard system across our universities or tertiary institutions. Let's take a look at the Nigerian Tribune for today and give you a sense of what the paper is reporting. These are some of the top stories on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Restructuring. Nwodo Wabara lead 20-man Ohaneze committee to articulate Igbo position. And 2024 Hajj, over 1.5 million foreign pilgrims arrive Saudi Arabia, warned of severe temperature. And on June 12, Nigeria needs new constitution. Anyaku Nwachukwu, others say. Ex-Commonwealth Secretary General leads other patriots to Abiola's tomb, lay wreaths. Fashion family protests TINUBU's omission of OPC founder in list of heroes. Yes, so here's the thing. I think the best way to acknowledge all of the contributors, as well as people who paid the ultimate price in the fight for the current democratic dispensation that we're enjoying, is perhaps to put a separate statement. I think the president, going into details, mentioning name by name, people who are left out would definitely protest, because it's the president mentioning and acknowledging, and it makes it look like these are the exclusive list of people who actually are worthy of mention.
And you remember they say journalism is the first draft of history.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are now redefining, as it were, those who contributed and those. So
perhaps put out a separate statement, acknowledge everyone that needs to be acknowledged, especially one that is in recorded history as a contributor to the fight against, tyranny or authoritarian.
I think the president's job is cut out for him as far as this is concerned. I don't envy him, and he's also one of those who fought for this democracy, even though
he mentioned himself actually.
Oh, he did,
as a beneficiary of.
All right, that's the much that we can bring to you on today's Daybreak edition. We hope we have brought value to your living room this morning. And on that note, I will say let's do this again tomorrow. I'm Sunday Michael Ogun.
Thank you for your time and company as always. We hope to see you tomorrow live at 8 a.m. For now, stick around, because at the top of the hour, we'll be bringing you 360 Sports with an update on some of the developments, especially in the lead up to the Euros, as well as the World Cup qualifiers. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Good morning.